All right, I think it's time to get started. Welcome, everybody. This is my first class of the semester, so I'm glad to be here. I hope that you're glad to be here also. I hope that, college is everything you dreamed of. We'll see, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about the syllabus here. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this, and then I intend to get started with the course today. So this is Math 1015, Mathematics and Exploration. This class is meant for people who are not math majors, not science majors, not business majors. If that describes you, then you are in the right place. Welcome. This is math. You into that? No telling. This is a typical class that people who are not in the sort of technical majors will take to satisfy the math core requirement. I hope that describes you. This is the place for you in that case. My name is Professor Chris Stecker. That's how you say my name. Stecker, if you want to say it. If you look on the syllabus here, you will see that this semester I'm teaching two sections of this class. You all are section 1, and the other section is actually immediately after this in the same room. So you are section 1. It almost will never matter about the sections, but the two sections have final exams on different days. Anyway, you're section 1. Let's just take a look at the syllabus, shall we? So you can see my email address there. That's actually the best way to get in touch with me if you need to contact me for whatever reason. The email is probably the way to do it. I put my office phone number on there. Although nobody ever calls my office phone, you can try if you want to. Email is probably better. Anyway, my office is Bano, which is this building, room 16. Which is one level below. We're on floor 1 right now. My office is on the ground level, and unfortunately you have to go this way in the building before you go down. Over there you can't go down. So if you want to get to my office, go that way and then down one level. Yes?
I'm supposed to be a few hours later.
Oh, all right. It was nice while it lasted. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anybody else? All right. Okay, you can see my office hours are listed there. Tuesday, Friday, 10 to 11, and Wednesday, 1:30 to 3. Those are times when I will guarantee you that I'm going to be in my office just waiting for you to show up and talk about something. But if those don't work for you, I would be happy to set up something else. In particular, this is the hour before class every time we meet. So hopefully that's a convenient time if you have homework questions or questions about tests and quizzes or whatever. I would be happy to chat with you in my office at those times. And it says on there, all the office hours are in my office or on Zoom, and there's a link to my Zoom room. If for whatever reason you don't want to come in person to my office, that's fine. While I'm sitting in there waiting for people to show up, I will also turn on my Zoom, and you can come that way too. If you don't want to walk over here for some reason or whatever. All right? Any questions about any of that? I hope everybody will feel free to interrupt me if you do have questions while I'm going here. You got one over here. All right. The final exam is there. Like I said, you guys are section 1, so your final exam is Tuesday, December 20th at 11:30. Put it in your calendars. And the class website, that's the link to it. You can shoot the QR code there with your phone and go to the class website. You will want to go there because that's where I'm going to post the homework assignments. I am not going to use Blackboard for that because I don't really like the way Blackboard works. So just hit this QR code there, and you'll want to go there at least once a week, like I said, because that's where the homework assignments are going to be. All right? If you go there right now, you won't see much because I haven't posted any homework assignments yet. All right, let's look at the course description here, which doesn't say all that much. This is the description, that's written in the official course catalog. This course introduces various ideas in mathematics at an elementary level. It's meant for the student who would like to fulfill a core math requirement, but who does not need to take mathematics for their major. Topics will vary depending on the instructor, but in general will include topics of both historical and current interest. So basically what this course is it is, first of all, meant for people who don't need specific math courses in their major. If you are thinking about having a science major or something like that, this class is probably not for you, because if you're thinking about changing your major to, say, chemistry, then they will make you go back and take some other math class, and then this one, I mean, I hope you will have had a good time in this class, but it will have been sort of wasted credits. So if anybody's concerned about, am I really supposed to be in this class, let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you about your situation. But the description there is fairly non-specific. Really what this class is I come up with some topics that are interesting to me, and that's what the class is about. And I hope that they are interesting to you also. I suppose no guarantees, but that's the idea. You can see the rough calendar here of the topics. So our three major topics are going to be, we're going to start off talking about voting, and then we're going to talk about gerrymandering, which is a big deal these days. I mean, voting is a big deal too. And then we're going to talk about graph theory. All of these are things that probably you have not done in, say, a high school math class. So that's, I hope that is encouraging or something. Graph theory, by the way, is not the same as like the graph of a function. You probably all did do that in high school, but that's not what graph theory means in this context. So that's what the class is going to be about. Anyway, let's just go through the rest of this here. You can see on the calendar there are going to be 2 exams during the semester and then the final exam at the end. So put those dates in your calendar too. October 14th and November 18th, those are both Fridays. And the test will be just like, instead of class, we'll do the test just in this room. And that's how it goes. All right. It says there, each exam, including the final exam, covers only the topics that it follows. No exam is cumulative. We're doing these like separate topics, which really have nothing to do with each other. So I'm not going to ask you, say, on our last exam, to do some problems involving the first topic, which you've forgotten about by then. So no exam is cumulative. I'll remind you of that when it comes around time. It says on the top of there, your exam grade is the simple average of the 3 exams. The final exam, it's called the final exam because it's at the end, but really it's just like the same as, it's just the 3rd exam because it's not going to be like summarizing all the topics. So it's just 3 exams. And it says students will not use calculators or any other electronic gadgetry during the exams. It's just going to be on paper. I write the questions, you write the answers. I hope you are not worried by not having calculators. This class is really, a calculator would almost never, you're not going to want a calculator. It's not that kind of class. All right. About the homework. The homework will be assigned each week. Assignments will be posted at the class website, like I said. And I would like to encourage you to work together on the assignments. Good morning. I think we got. I would encourage you to work together on the assignments, but it says students are encouraged to work together on the assignments, but each must hand in their own paper. So if you work with your buddy, that's fine. I still want a separate paper from everybody, all right? And it really is fine with me if you want to work with your friends on the homework. I am not going to try to detect if you are just mooching off of your friends. If you're just copying their answers, a lot of times in a math class, like if their answer is right, then that should be your answer too. So I'm not going to try to tell if you really did it yourself or if you are just copying, freeloading off of your friends. The way we get around that is each week we are also going to have a quiz. So the rhythm of the class is every week there's a homework due. The homework is going to be due on Wednesday. We don't have class on Wednesday, but you're going to send in all the assignments electronically anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, the homework will be due on Wednesday. Rather than having it due on Tuesdays, I thought it would be better. If you have questions about the homework, you can come to class on Tuesday. Ask me, I might say something helpful, and then it'll be due the next day. Anyway, the homework is due on Wednesday, and then on Friday, we immediately have a quiz on the same topic as the homework. So if you do just copy from your friends on the homework, you might do okay on the homework, but you'll fail all the quizzes, and everything will be fine, right? As far as I'm concerned. So don't just copy from your friends on the homework, although I'm not going to try to sleuth it out, and there will not per se be a penalty. If you do copy answers on the homework, it's just you're going to be screwed when it comes to the quizzes and the tests. So you might as well actually understand it yourself. All right? Any thoughts about that? Okay, so about the quizzes, each Friday there's going to be a quiz. The idea is the quiz is just meant to make sure that you are actually doing the homework and understanding the homework. So if you do the homework on Wednesday and everything seems fine to you, you should be fine on the quiz. It's not meant to be like a big stressful thing. It's going to last about 10 minutes. We'll just do like at the beginning of class, we do the quiz for 10, 15 minutes. You hand it in, and then we go on with the rest of the class. So the quiz is really meant to be a sort of low stress kind of thing, just for me to make sure that you actually know what's going on and are not just copying the homework every week. All right? No calculators on the quizzes either. Okay? So your grade here, this is a little cute, a little fun maybe. For the grading of this course, I would like to choose your own grading ratios. Your grade is going to be entirely based on the homework, the quizzes, and the tests. As far as how much each of those categories counts, I'm going to leave it up to each of you individually to decide for yourself. So think about which of those three categories you feel most accurately reflects your ability to show me what you know, and tell me. So it says here, sometime on or before September 23rd. That's in a little while. I wanted to give you a chance to experience what the homeworks are like and what a couple quizzes are like before you make this choice. But anyway, by the 23rd, send me an email and tell me what your 3 percentages are that you want. And it says the rules are they have to add up to 100%, obviously. Each of the three categories must be at least 30%, so you can't just say like 0% for the exams. You got to give me 30 at least. And then you can't change your mind later. This happens sometimes. People like at the end of the semester, they're like, hey, can I change my mind and make the quizzes worth more because I did well in the quizzes? The answer is no. You got to think about it and tell me ahead of time. All right? If you never notify me, you will default to exactly 33% for each category for a total of 99. I screw you out of a point. 'Cause sometimes there's always like one or two people who just never tell me, and I don't know why. I screw you for a point if you just never tell me. I'm not trying to screw you. I mean, I will remind you and everything. That's the way that works. Any questions about that? So you're just going to think about it, send me an email at some point in the next few weeks and tell me. I will remind you if you forget. All right, all of our assignments are going to be submitted online, and there's a little thing about the online submission. Everything is going to be submitted at a website called gradescope.com. This is a website. Unfortunately, they don't have an app. It's just you have to go to the website. You should do it with your phone, though. The way it's meant to work is you are in this class officially registered at Gradescope. Actually, you should have gotten an email about an hour ago saying, here's your account on Gradescope, and I hope you did. If you didn't, let me know. And the way it works is you write all your answers like you normally would on paper for a math class, and then you just take a picture with your phone and send a picture in. So you're not going to have any kind of hassle about how do I type this weird math stuff. Just write it on paper and send in a picture of it. All right? In a little bit, I'm just going to show you exactly how it works just to make sure everybody knows how to do it. All right? A little more here. So if following along on the paper here, the next thing is about showing work. Should I show work? The answer is basically yes. It says the professor already knows the answers to the problems which are assigned, so you don't need to tell him the answer. Like if you just write the answer with nothing else, I'm not really interested in you just telling me the answer because, like I said, I already know the answer. The point of the assignments is for you to demonstrate to me that you know how to get the answer, not that you know what the answer is. And so you should always give me something that indicates how you did the problem. Now, there will from time to time be be problems where there really is nothing to show, and that's fine. I'm not going to try to screw you on that, but my general philosophy is, yes, you should show me the work, all right? About the attendance, it says, attendance does not directly figure into your grade. As you can see, the grade is entirely made up of homework, quizzes, and exams. So there's no grade penalty for missing class. If you do miss class, it says students who miss class are 100% responsible for making sure all the assignments are still completed on schedule. If you miss class on Tuesday, the homework is still due on Wednesday. And if you miss class and so you don't know how to do this or that, then figure out how to do it. Ask someone else in the class or ask me. I can try to help you out too. It says specifically the professor expects homework assignments to be handed in on or before the due dates, and it is your responsibility to negotiate missed quizzes. If you miss a quiz, you better get in touch with me. I am unlikely to hassle you about it. That doesn't mean I don't care. It means I'm not going to hassle you about it. So if you miss a quiz, or certainly if you miss a test, well, first of all, you shouldn't. But I mean, people have reasons. If you do, let me know. I will not chase after you about this. That's all I'm saying. I would expect you to reach out to me. All right? Any questions about that? What else? Something about office hours. So this may be a change of pace for you from those of you coming straight out of high school. It says the professor regards visits to office hours as part of the instruction for the course, and responsible students are expected to visit the professor occasionally for help with the homework and other class materials. What I'm trying to say here is, I remember when I was in high school, it was like, I never wanted to talk to my teachers outside of the classroom. I don't know if you went to a high school situation like this. Like for me, it was like, if I was seen speaking to a teacher outside of class, that was a sign that like something was seriously wrong in my life, That is not how I like to do things, and I think you'll find like professors at Fairfield in general do not see it that way. So if you want to talk to me about homework problems that you can't figure out or whatever, that I consider that to be just part of the ordinary way that everybody will interact with me. I'm not saying you have to talk to me in office hours, certainly not, but you should not feel like any kind of hesitation about, I have this question, is that really worth asking him about? I mean, you can worry if you like, but feel free to ask me about anything. It does not change my opinion of you about if you're asking for help a lot on the homeworks. Really, my opinion of you is always going to be uneducated and kind of irrelevant. Like, I don't really know you. I like you all right now, and I expect I will still like you all at the end of the semester, but you don't have to worry about what I think of you. Like, it doesn't matter what I think of you. Just like, I hope that you all like me, but whatever. If you don't like me, that's fine. I'm still getting paid, right? So please feel free to ask me whatever. If you're not feeling good about things, let me know. I am always eager to help. All right? And there's just a little note there about the counseling services. This is just so that you all know. We have counseling services available at the university, and it's free to undergraduate students. This is amazing. Free therapy. You will not have an opportunity like this other times in your life. So I would encourage you, anyone who feels like that would be helpful, check it out. I recently actually started seeing a therapist, Stacy. She's helped me out. So there's nothing wrong with that. Check them out, and it's free. Stacy is not free. That's the only bad thing about Stacy. All right? Anybody have any questions about all of that?
Yeah.
Yes?
General question.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a student that's just not really particularly capable of learning mathematics?
Yeah, he asked, do I come across people who are not capable of learning? I would say, so I have given some F's in my day to people who did not learn. Usually that happens because they are not investing themselves, are not trying. I think there is some amount of perhaps innate talent that some people have for mathematics and some people don't. But I haven't encountered certainly for this class, I have not had a lot of experience with people who simply can't do it. But if you are concerned about being in a college math class, like in general, I know that this is kind of for some people a source of great anxiety, being asked to do mathematics, certainly like on a test when there's a time limit or whatever. I understand the struggle is real, and I would like to do anything that I can to help you out. One thing that I meant to say is that a lot of folks, I have already been getting some emails from folks who have accommodations to take extra time on tests and stuff like that. That is, that's a common thing. If you are in that category, please let me know, and I would be happy to chat with you about what you think we can do to make things go better for you.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes.
Okay. So what if you haven't taken a math, no one in here, of course, but what if you haven't taken a math class in 50 years?
That's fine.
You can still pass.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I needed to know.
All right. Yeah, I should have started with that. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of what kind of background I expect you all to have, but the short answer is basically nothing. We are not, maybe I'll just get into, so I was going to say something about sort of my philosophy of what this class is about, what this class is and is not about. By the way, I'm going to write everything on the screens here. I hope that you can see it all right. The reason I'm doing that is because I am also recording everything right now. And I'm going to, after class every day, I'm going to post the recording on YouTube so that if you do miss the class, you can go check it out. Be sure to like and subscribe. I don't expect these videos to do real numbers, but I started doing this like when we were closed for COVID, but I found that it was helpful. I hope that it's helpful to anyone. If you miss something during class, you can go back and watch it. You can watch it as many times as you want. And also, what I'm writing here, I'm writing into a PDF document, which I will save and then post on the class website so you can get the written form, which is sometimes better than watching the video. So I want to try and be like as open as possible. I hope that everybody does come to class every time, and you'll definitely learn best if you do. But I don't want to screw you over if you don't come to class or if you aren't paying attention or whatever. You'll be able to get the information. All right, so here's my sort of philosophy about this class. There are a lot of different attitudes about what math class should we teach to college students who are not going to be like math majors. What kind of math should they be learning? They meaning you. And one approach to that is these folks are people who maybe didn't do so great in math in high school, or maybe they did all right, but they just weren't into it. And so what we should do in college is like do that high school stuff again, but make sure you actually do it right this time. If you didn't do it right in high school. That is not what this class is about, all right? Instead, the idea behind this class is more like this may be the last math class that you ever take in your life. So rather than saying, I'm going to try one more time to teach you like the Pythagorean theorem or whatever else you kind of only halfway learned, rather than that, I'm going to just try to show you something that is interesting to me from mathematics. All right. My sort of vision for the class is inspired by an old sort of teen high school movie from the 90s. I don't know if you're familiar with this movie. It's called She's All That. This is not a great movie. I remember when I was in the 90s, when I was a kid, I watched this movie with my sister because she was watching it on the TV, and in the 90s there was only one TV, and whatever's on, you got to watch it. So, but the story is like there's sort of there's like this nerdy girl who wears glasses all the time, and there's the jock guy, and the guy like on a like as a dare for his friends, the guy asked the nerdy girl to the prom because this is like it would be like a big joke to go with the nerdy girl. And the girl says yes, and the guy is going to go to the prom with this girl as a joke. But then before the prom, there's like the girl with the glasses goes to visit like her sexy aunt, and the aunt like gives her a makeover, which consists of like she takes off the glasses and takes off the ponytail, and that's the makeover. And then she goes to the prom with the guy, and everyone's like, "Oh, she's hot now." And the guy, turns out he's really into her, and they are getting along great in the movie. And then, like 10 minutes before the end of the movie, she finds out that this was all a joke. And she's like, "No, you never liked me." And he's like, "No, I really do like you." And she says, "No, it's only because like I took my glasses off, you like me." And he has to sort of say like, "No, I maybe I did like you because you took your glasses off, but really like I've grown to appreciate who you really are on the inside." And then at the end, it's like he's like, "No, you can wear your glasses. It's okay because I really like you for you." And so at the end of the movie, she's like she wears her glasses, but like in a sexy way or something. Like we as the viewers at the end have come to appreciate that. Like, yeah, she really was hot all along, even though she wears glasses and has a ponytail. This is my vision for the class. So I would like to take, in general, the subject of mathematics. Maybe I would be able to take off the glasses and take out the ponytail of a few mathematical topics in a way which helps you to appreciate that these are interesting and beautiful things, all right? And then I'm not going to do this in a dishonest way, though. I mean, I'm not going to make things seem sexy to you when they're not really. I am interested in mathematics because I believe that mathematics is beautiful. I don't actually believe that everything mathematical is beautiful. Like, I don't sit around like multiplying numbers in my head because I think that's awesome. Like, I don't really think that's awesome. There are some things in mathematics that I do think are awesome, though, and I would like to try to share some of these things with you so that by the end of the class, like, really what I would like is for if I ask you, like, what is your general opinion of mathematics? I hope that you'll be able to say, like, yeah, it's kind of complicated at times, and it's hard to do sometimes, but there really is some beauty there. And then maybe, in your future life, when you encounter some kind of mathematical thing in your life, maybe you wouldn't be so hesitant to think that it might be beautiful on some level. That's the general idea. So the topics I have chosen to be things, like I said, they're things that are interesting to me, that I think are interesting and beautiful. I hope that you end up agreeing with me, although, not everything is for everybody, and that's all right. Let me just say, so what we're talking about is interesting things. I'm going to try to write legibly. My handwriting is usually pretty good. Oh, I got this thing. Sorry. Interesting things. This is different. That's too tall. This is different from useful things. I think people in high school are used, and even in college, are used to, especially when you're learning math, you want to learn math which is useful. And so a lot of times people ask, like, when am I ever going to use this in my regular life? And my answer to you is, at least for all the topics this semester, you are not going to use these things in your regular life. Really, people don't use like any high school math in their real lives. Maybe. I think I don't. I do. I like to cook, and sometimes I want to like multiply a recipe by a fraction. Sometimes I got to multiply fractions. That's about as sophisticated as it gets in terms of using math in my real life. All right, and I don't know when I learned how to multiply fractions, but it was a long time ago, right? This is not really the barrier or the bar for this class is not what's going to be useful to me. I think if we're honest here, you have already learned all the math that's going to be useful in your ordinary life, which is basically like adding and multiplying. I think that's usually, unless you're like a carpenter or something. I use calculus because I'm a math professor, not because I use calculus in my actual life. So interesting things, not necessarily useful things. So try to resist the urge. Well, you can ask me whenever you want. When am I ever going to use this? I will say, you will not. You're not going to use this in your regular life. But you can ask me, why is this interesting? Why should I be interested in that? That is a totally legitimate question, and I will, if you ever feel like, man, this is stupid and totally uninteresting to me, I would be happy to try to explain to you at least why it's interesting to me. You know, we don't have to agree on what interests us, I guess, but that's the idea. Interesting things, all right? I will say this class will involve very little of numbers. There will be some numbers, but not a whole lot. Not a lot of equations, memorized formulas, none of that really. Because those things I think are just, to me, they kind of get in the way of actually appreciating the ideas that you're talking about. I want to talk about interesting ideas, not balancing your checkbook or something. To me, that's not terribly interesting. Why should we learn these things then if they're not going to be useful in your life? Well, it's just like why you learn anything. You don't learn things. You certainly don't go to college and learn things that are going to be useful in your own life. If you're going to be like a history major or something, like that's not because you really need to know about history in order to balance your checkbook or something. Like that's a different question. I hope that you don't come into this with the idea of this stuff got to be useful to me. All right. Because there's not a lot of numbers, equations, or memorized formulas or anything like that, I would say the topics are going to be, I'll put this in quotes, simple, in the sense that, like, you could say, go to lunch after class every day and tell your friends about what we did in the math class that day. I don't expect you will do this. They won't be your friends too long. But it should be simple enough for you to explain, like to your mom or your dad, what this class is about. But it will be done at a deeper level, and these topics are simple on the surface. Especially like the first thing we're talking about is voting. Very simple on the surface, but actually if you look closely at it, there is actually a lot to say about it. That's what these topics are going to be like. All right. I hope everybody is inspired. Maybe, I don't know. I am looking forward to the rest of the semester. Any questions so far? I want to just get right into talking about voting. But is there anything questions about the way the class is going to go or any of that? All right, let's get started with the voting then. So I would encourage you just as far as what you should do during class. I would encourage you to you should take notes. I see a whole lot of you have computers out. A lot of the topics, this voting stuff is not this way, but a lot of what we're going to do involves drawing a lot of pictures, which will be hard to do if you're trying to type notes. This is not really great for typing, although if you want to, scribble on an iPad or something, that's fine too. So our first major kind of topic for the class is about voting. Please let me know if you ever can't, not into it. Let me know if you ever can't read what I got on the paper. I'm going to be wondering why she walked out. All right, let's talk about voting. This is maybe the ultimate sort of idea, which seems simple on the surface, especially to Americans like myself. Voting has always been something that I've known about for my whole life, and it's sort of the basis of our society, kind of. I don't know. The idea of voting is I suppose it's a simple idea. So the situation, the scenario in which you try to do voting is a group of people need to make a decision, right? A group of people need to make a decision. but they don't necessarily all agree with each other. So how are we going to come to some kind of consensus decision among a bunch of different people who don't automatically agree with one another? And the way you do it, the strategy for voting is you ask everyone's opinion, right? That's the sort of ballots or whatever. And then you somehow take all of those opinions, you gather together all the opinions, and by counting them up or somehow taking everyone's opinion into account, you gather together all the opinions and you and you find what we sometimes call the will of the people. Right? This is the purpose of voting, to get a whole bunch of people and figure out what it is they all want, sort of as a collective, as a group, right? In America, this seems like a simple concept, I think, because we're very used to this. You know, I've been voting like little kids in elementary school. They have little votes for things. You know, people vote all the time. It seems like a simple idea, but this is, from a certain point of view, a very strange idea. What's weird about it is like this part here, I would say. Certainly you can ask everybody's opinion, but when you gather all those opinions together, you find the will of the people, but it's hard to say what that means. Like, for example, you know, a couple of years ago we had the presidential election between Trump and Biden, and Biden won. Does that mean that, like, as a whole, the American society thinks that Joe Biden should be the president? Well, it doesn't really. You could say, in a sense, that it is the will of the nation that Biden became the president. But, I mean, that's true in some kind of technical sense, but it doesn't actually mean that people in America in general wanted Biden to be the president. Like, some of them did. Most of them did, for at least more than the ones who wanted Trump, right? This idea of the will of the people is kind of like that's like a philosophical concept, which is sort of, I would say, sort of fantastical or fictitious. You know, like, a vote can determine something, but it doesn't really mean that, certainly doesn't mean that everybody wanted Joe Biden to be the president, right? What exactly is meant by this, the will of the people? It's an idea which we recognize as important, although it is, in some sense, not really what it seems to be sometimes. And this should immediately ask you, or it should lead you to wonder, if this nebulous sort of fantastical concept, is that really worth building an entire society on? Or like building a whole civilization on this idea of determining the will of the people, when when you think about it, that doesn't, the will of the people doesn't really exist in any kind of actual way. It's something to think about. I'm not trying to give you my own hot takes here. I'm just trying to convince you that the concept of voting seems obvious and simple on its surface, but actually when you think about it a little bit, it's more complicated maybe from a philosophical point of view than it seems.
If I may.
Yeah, sure.
Because once you're gathering the information, ultimately the idea is to bring it to a question, right? Because you have to ask a question in order for people to answer it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it gets a little convoluted, because many times the way the question is structured leaves a lot of gray areas.
Yeah. But I would say even in a simple thing like, do you think Biden or Trump should be the president? You know, we do the election and we decide that Biden should be the president. But that doesn't actually mean that everybody thinks that Biden should be the president. It means that we did the election and we chose according to some rule. I don't know if this seems weird. I would say a lot of what seems ordinary about voting is just because we're so used to it as part of our culture or whatever. Thank you for the comment, though. Please, I would encourage anyone to pipe up with their own ideas about anything. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to try a little a little voting example, just us right now. And this is also going to be the way that I make sure that everybody knows how to do the grade scope thing, which is our electronic thing. So what I would like to do is have a little election right now, and we're going to decide as a group what is the greatest movie ever, or the greatest, let's say movie or movie series, because I don't want to split votes between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi or whatever. So I would like for us to vote about best movie ever, or best movie series ever. All right, so what I want to do is everybody to vote, write down on a piece of paper. Although before we do this, I don't think we should just immediately write down. For example, what if I said, okay, everybody right now write down the greatest movie ever, and then give it to me, and I will collect them, and we'll just decide what the greatest movie ever is. Anybody see a problem with that? I mean, we could do that, but I would say the results in that case would not be so great. Yeah. Yeah, it's likely that all of you would say something different, or maybe two of you would say Shawshank Redemption. Does that really mean that that's the greatest movie ever? Not really. It means like two of you said that, but that's kind of coincidental or something. Really, what is needed? This is why, for example, when we have a presidential election in the United States, you don't just ask everybody separately, who do you think should be the president? Then like everybody will vote for their mom or something. Right? What you need is a specific ballot with candidates on it. If you don't have that, then really, I mean, you can vote if you want to, but the results will not be terribly meaningful. So let's try to make up a ballot. Now, I don't have a great way of doing this. I thought we could just do this informally. What I would like is a ballot with 4 options on it, all right? So could we all perhaps decide within the next few minutes, what should be the 4 things? I'm going to suggest maybe Star Wars should be on there. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so I'm into Star Wars, at least historically speaking. It's had its ups and downs, as we all know. Anybody have another suggestion to put on our ballot?
Godfather.
The Godfather, all right. Which one is the best?
Well, the first, obviously.
The first one, right.
But they're all pretty good.
Any other ideas? I want to get a lot of ideas, and then maybe we can all somehow narrow it down to just 4. Yeah.
Airplane.
Airplane, all right. I like airplane with the exclamation, right? We had the, yeah.
Good. Oh no, you go. Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, bringing out the math movies. All right. What do you say?
The Harry Potter series.
All right, Harry Potter. You don't want them to cancel you though. What else?
Sopranos.
The Sopranos. Is that a movie?
It's a show.
Series.
I want to go.
Sopranos movie.
I'm gonna go. Was there a movie? There was. All right, I'll put it on there. I want to narrow this down eventually, but how about we gotta go the MCU? Just by money terms, that's the greatest ever, right? Is that enough? Can we? I want to narrow it down to 4 movies. Anyone feel like I've left anything out? I didn't get any like Titanic or that kind of thing. Anybody into that? I asked I did a similar thing last semester, and they all said 10 things I hate about you. Yeah. I never seen that. I don't know. Should I put that on the? I'm gonna put that on my list. Just.
Lord of the Rings, I guess.
All right. That's a good idea. Lord of the Rings. Okay, I think this is enough. Maybe, like I said, I want to get 4. Because I think this is probably even too many. Could I maybe just go down the list, and I will, this is going to be very informal, but I will say Star Wars. If you think Star Wars should be in the top 4, raise your hand. That's what I want to do. You don't have to, you can vote for us like as many times as you want. You don't have to just choose 4 of them. All right, so who says Star Wars should be there? I'm not going to try to count. That looks like most people. All right, how about Godfather? Oh, sorry, Godfather. Airplane? All right, those aren't making it. Good Will Hunting? Just a few, all right. Harry Potter? That's a little better. Sopranos? All right. How about the MCU? 10 things I hate about you? A few. big with the ladies. Lord of the Rings? All right, it looks to me, I don't care that this is unscientific. I'm going to go with Star Wars. I think Harry Potter got some. I think Lord of the Rings got some. Anybody feel strongly about the other one? I'm going to go with 10 Things I Hate About You just because I don't want them all to be like blockbuster, sci-fi, fantasy kind of things. All right, so this is our ballot now. So what I would like for everyone to do, just on a piece of paper, or you could write it if you're writing on an iPad or something. We have our ballot consists of, I'll put them in alphabetical order. Harry Potter, this series, Lord of the Rings, this series, Star Wars, and 10 Things I Hate About You. What I want you to do is write down your vote, and then we're going to send this to GradeScope. You can just do this in your notebook if you want to, because you're going to submit it electronically. You're not going to actually give it to me. So what I would like is put a little sort of spot here, and then I would like you, just for fun, rather than just voting on the best one out of those, just to make it more interesting, let's give me a ranking of your choices. So I would like you to put, so this is my top choice, this is my second choice, etc. So put 1 next to the one you like the best. So maybe I will do Star Wars as my 1. So 1 means the best, right? And then put 2, 3, 4 on the other ones according to your opinion about the order in which they should be ranked. I'll show you my ranking. I don't want to influence. I didn't see 10 Things I Hate About You, so I'm going to put it last. All right, that would be how I would vote for this. So here's what I want to do. I want to make sure that everybody is cool with the GradeScope system. So what you got to do is go to gradescope.com. You should be able to do this on your phone. Like I said, there is no app for this. You're going to have to actually go to the website with your web browser. You should have gotten an email earlier today, about an hour and a half ago, saying that you have a GradeScope account. So hopefully you will be able to log in. You might have to set your password or something. Oh, you know what? Give me a moment. I forgot to create the blank assignment for you to submit into. This is embarrassing. I'm going to do it right now. All right, so hopefully you should be able to log in and submit your picture. The idea is you're going to just take a picture of your piece of paper that you wrote on, or if you're writing everything in your iPad or something, you can do a screenshot or something like that. I'm going to walk around and make sure everybody is doing okay. If things are not working, please let me know, and I will be happy to help out. Yeah, you may have to set a password. I wanted to take a few minutes and do this in class just so that when it comes time to do the first homework assignment, you will know what's up. You know what I mean? Yeah, take photos. Yep. Okay, you submit. You don't need to put your name or anything because that will automatically be associated with your name. Yeah. So tap on that assignment. Okay.
Yeah, view your course dashboard.
Yes.
That one? I got the picture of this.
On the way. All right. Yeah.
Oh, it showed, like, that's that.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, okay.
All right. Perfect. Excellent. You doing good? Doing okay? All right. Doing good? I'll give you another minute, and then we'll keep talking. All right, I think we can move on. Please let me know if that didn't work out for you. I'd be happy to, work through it more carefully afterwards. So I can't see I'm not going to talk about the results right now. I mean, I have to go into the grade scope and I can read all of your answers. Thank you for doing that. This was mostly just to make sure that you understand how to use the grade scope. For our homeworks in general, you will have like several questions on the assignment, and you'll take a separate picture for each question and load them in. I hope that you find it's easy to do. I know it's kind of, I suppose it's harder than just giving me a stack of papers, but it's a lot easier for me to grade that way, and I won't get your diseased, dirty papers. I started doing this during the real hot times of COVID, but I actually like the way that the system works. Okay, thank you for doing that. Let's talk about this. So what I'm going to get, as far as what you just sent me, is I'm going to get like 30 different things that look like this, with those numbers there. How do we choose the winner? That's what I would like to think about. How do we choose the winner? Anybody have a suggestion? Yeah?
Add up the points and do whatever movie has the lowest points.
Add up the points. Okay, this is actually not what I was expecting somebody to say, but yeah, if you could think of these things as like points that you get. She said add up the points. Whoever has the least amount of points is the winner?
Yeah, because one is the best.
Yeah, all right. I suppose you could do it that way. Anybody had a different idea? Actually, that wasn't exactly what, yeah.
These have marks where whoever put like Star Wars 1 right time marks next to however many whoever has the most tallies wins.
Yeah, so this actually is what first comes to my mind. You just count up who got the most number ones, right? And then you say that's the winner. Actually, that is kind of how we generally do political elections in the United States. You don't even ask people to rank their choices. You just say, like, who do you think is the best? That's who I vote for. And then they count up whoever most people said was the best, that's the winner, right? So I would say, how do we choose the winner? We could just count up the number one spot rankings, right? This would be fairly easy to do, it might take you a few minutes, but any one of us could go through the stack of votes and figure out who the winner is, if we do it that way. One thing that's not great about that, as far as a method, is that this actually doesn't take into account any of the rankings. All that matters is who you said was number one, right? And this method of just counting up the number one spot rankings, this will ignore the lower rankings, right? And I feel like maybe that's not a great way to go about it. I mean, maybe the lower rankings would be important in some situations. I don't know. If you added up the points, like she said, that would apparently, I mean, probably that would take into account the other rankings, right? It's a little more complicated to think about exactly how exactly does it take into account the other rankings, but it certainly does do something with the other rankings. I'm just going to say, you could just count up the number one spot rankings. This ignores the lower rankings. Or can I just say, do something more complicated, right? It could be adding up points like she suggested. Or maybe you could, I mean, is there some other way you can imagine doing this? Yeah, probably, if you thought about it for a while, you could probably come up with some other way of combining these votes together and determining a winner. So the moral of the story here is there is no obvious, I will say, best way to determine the winner. Right? Like, we just had two ideas that were basically off the top of our heads. We could think of two different ways to do it. And do you feel strongly that one or the other of those two ways is like the best way to do it? I don't know, maybe you feel strongly. I feel like they both seem reasonable to me. Which system you use here is, I'll say there's no obvious best way to determine the winner. And we choose the method just sort of, I would say, for cultural reasons or for reasons about cultural reasons. Like if somebody asks you, well, like, what about the system that we use in America where we essentially only care about people's top choice because we only ask them about what's your top choice? I don't know if you ever thought about this. Why exactly do we do it that way? The little kid who pledges allegiance to the flag every morning answer is, well, that's obviously just the way we should do it, because that's the way we do it. That's why we do it, because that's like the American way to do it. I'm trying to implant in you the idea that, like, I'm not saying that's a bad way to do it. I'm just saying that's not really the only obvious way to do voting. There is not an obvious best way. We choose the way we do for different reasons, That's what we're going to talk about. Sort of, what are the different ways that we could try to determine winners in elections like this? Just because I say there's no best way to do it doesn't mean that I actually, if you ask me my own personal opinion, I am sort of a true believer in democracy. I'm not trying to make you all think that voting is a big scam. I don't think that voting is a bad idea. It's just more complicated than it seems to be on the surface. That's all I'm saying. This is why people like, this famous quote from Churchill, Winston Churchill. He said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. Isn't that cute? I think part of what is meant by that is just that, and we have to get past our kind of, for me at least, my American culture upbringing. I'm conditioned to have deep respect for the process of voting, and I do have respect for the process of voting, but it's not obviously the best way to do things, and it is. There are like deep questions that you can still ask about voting. Like I think I agree with this quote, like we still basically have to do voting in order to have a just society. But that doesn't mean that voting is perfect. And voting is, actually we're gonna talk as we go along here, there are some real problems, like mathematical problems with the concept of voting. As a concept, it doesn't always work the way that we want to. So we're going to look closely at, I will say, issues with voting. It's not all, it doesn't always work out the way that we expect or the way that we want, even like in the real world, for mathematical reasons. Issues with voting, and I'm going to say, not politics, all right? It is not my intention to talk to you about my political hot takes. I will mention Biden and Trump every so often and other kinds of things like that, but, and I actually do have my own political opinions, and I am interested in politics to a certain extent, but that's not what I want to talk about. So I am not trying to talk about who should be the president or whatever. I am, in this class, we are just going to try to focus as much as possible on the mathematics of the voting. If you want to talk to me about politics, I would be happy to tell you all my hot takes outside of class. If you think that my own personal political opinion is biasing my presentation of the mathematics of voting, I think you're probably wrong, although I'm interested to hear it. I truly do not want to try to indoctrinate you with whatever political opinions that I have. And if you have strong political opinions, that's great. That should have nothing to do with the class. All right? We got about 13 minutes remaining. I think that's enough time to give you this handout. I got a handout here of so this is the kind of results that I'm going to see when I look at those votes that you just sent to me. It's a little difficult to even say, like after we have an election in the real world, it's like the next day you could look on the news and they tell you, Biden got this many votes, Trump got this many votes. If you think about it, the election that we just did with the movies, and I got the results because you sent them to me. But how could I even tell you what the votes were tomorrow? Like, I could tell you this many people put Star Wars on the top, this many people put whatever else on the top. Everybody get one? But actually that's not a complete summary of the votes, right? Just telling you who was ranked on top the most times. There's more information than that was in the ballots. Anyway, here's an example of what you see here are 37 different ballots. You have to imagine this was like a bunch of people voted on 4 alternatives, which they called A, B, C, and D. This is an abstract, made-up example. And what you see at the top is just every ballot exactly as it was submitted. Now, how are you even going to think about those results? Well, you can summarize them. The table at the bottom there is a summary of how the votes went. I actually have this on my screen too. You can see that. So here we have all the ballots. You basically don't want to try and look at this bunch of ballots. There's too much information there. But at the bottom here, what I have is a summary. So when you see this, like this column right here, this means 14 people said A first, then B, then C, then D. So this is like their first choice, their second choice, their third choice, their fourth choice. All right, that's what this little chart at the bottom means. And if you don't believe me, you can check that. If you look at all these ballots up here and count them up, 14 of them said that, with A ranked first, and then B, then C, then D. And then similarly here, come on. So this column here means 10 people put C in first position, and then B, then D, then A. 8 people did this, and 4 and 1. All right. By the way, this is what I meant when I said there's not going to be a lot of numbers in this class. Like, okay, these are numbers, but that's the extent to which we're going to work with numbers in this class. I might ask you to add those numbers together. I think we can handle it. No fancy business with the numbers. All right. Anyway, what do you think? If I just look at these results here, anybody have an opinion about who we should declare to be the winner? We could try to work through each of the suggestions from before. If you only consider the first position rankings, can anybody say who's the winner here if we only count up how many times each candidate was ranked first? Yeah, A is the winner here because 14 people put A in the top position, right? How many people put B? Only 4 people put B in the top position. C, actually, you got to be a little careful here you will see these people and these people all put C in the top position. So C actually has 11 people put C in the top position, and D got 8. So maybe I'll just write that down. In the top position, A has 14. If you think of it as counting the votes in that way, A has 14 votes, B has only 4, C has 11. Like I said, that's because there are actually 2 different columns which put C in the top. There's 10 from the first and 1 at the end. And then D has 8. And so from this point of view, I guess A should be the winner because A has more than anybody else did. Actually, if you look carefully though at that chart there, in my opinion, there are reasons why A probably should not be the winner of this election. Anybody feel that way? You say why?
It's last for everything.
Yeah, in this case, everybody else hates A the most, right? A is the worst possible option for all of these people. 14 people like A the best, but actually all of these people, how many is that? There's these 10 plus 8 more plus 4 more plus 1 more. And I said there are 37 total voters in this whole election. So if 14 of them put A first, but everybody else, which is 23 of them, put A last. So from that point of view, actually a majority of the people think that A is the worst. So probably A should not be the winner from that point of view. Okay, well then who should be the winner? I would just say it's complicated. Like it's not obvious who should be the winner. You could try to add up the points like she suggested before, although that would take some work, I suppose, with these numbers, figuring out all the points. But I mean, you could do that and choose a winner in that way, or maybe there's just some other way to do it. So let me go back to my notes here. All right. So I hope that you are. Again, I'm just trying to demonstrate this fact. It's not obvious how to choose the winner actually there's a name for this type of election that you see in front of you in a ranked election. That is an election in which you ask the voters to rank their choices rather than just saying who's their top choice. If everybody just says who's my top choice, then it's pretty obvious. Like the only thing that you could do with those votes is add up how many people for each one. But if people are ranking their choices, which gives you more information to work with, it's not at all obvious how you're going to choose the winner. All right. So in this in the example with the 37 voters, if we count only top rankings, if we only look at who is ranked in the top position the most times, then A should win. But I will say most voters, 23 out of 37, think that A is the worst, which suggests that probably we shouldn't do it that other way, where you only count the first position rankings. All right. So how are we going to decide? There are other ways to decide the results, and actually we're going to talk about several. So there are several methods that we could use to decide the results. All right. What do we got? We got 5 minutes left. I'm about to start talking about something new, so maybe I will leave it at that and say, if anybody has like particular things to talk about with me, I'll hang around for another 5 minutes and I'd be happy to chat. Otherwise, I will see you all on Friday, same time. Nice to meet you all.